everybody, and welcome to the launch of Major and Mynah. I'm here with author Karen Owen to talk a little bit about the book with you. So firstly, Karen, could you just tell us a little bit about the book?
Major and Mynah is about two best friends and their secret detective club. There is Grace, who is good at numbers and code breaking and reaching chocolate hidden on the top shelf because she's very tall. And then there's Callie, who is great at keeping secrets and remembering interesting facts. And she's also very good at removing hairy spiders from the bath. Anyway, Callie has recently found out that she has a hearing loss and needs to wear hearing aids. And this is something she really doesn't want to do. But when she does, something very special and unexpected happens.
Ooh. So I know you've prepared a little reading for us.
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
So here is a copy of Major and Mynah. Callie is with her mum at hospital. She's in the ear, nose and throat department, but she likes to call it the enormous, naughty tarantulas department. As you might have guessed, she likes spiders. I was more interested in thinking about the tame bird from breakfast. Maybe it was somebody's pet and had escaped through an open window while they weren't looking. I wish I had a pet, one I could keep at home. I've got a donkey called Clarice, but I never get to see her because she lives a long way away in a rescue sanctuary. I used my Christmas money to sponsor her, and I get sent photos and updates. I feed Harold, Mr. and Mrs. Moore's cat, when they go on holiday too. Mostly, I'd like a Chilean rose tarantula. It's got a fiery red back, hairy legs, 8 eyes and 2 fangs. It's so beautiful. When I grow up, I want to be a spiderologist. If I had a pet spider, then I'd be able to study it, but Mum and Dad have said, no pets allowed. This is because Mum is allergic to cats. Dad said he hasn't got time to walk a dog. There's no space for a fish tank and definitely no spiders. I wonder how they'd feel about a bird. A smiley doctor came into the waiting room and called my name. My tummy tumbled madly. If I was a giant house spider, then I could have been out of there before anyone blinked. They can run up to ½ a metre per second. But I'm not a giant house spider, so I followed the smiley doctor. Her office was very quiet. I sat down by her desk, which had a computer and lots of wires and medical-looking things that made my tummy whirl again. I'm very passionate about ears, said the doctor excitedly. Or she might have said she was very passionate about chairs. I wasn't entirely sure, because at that exact moment she put the new hearing aids in my ears. Then she switched them on. Everything was so loud and squeaky and wasp! I jumped out of my seat and flapped wildly. The doctor ducked out of my way. It's not a wasp, it's the air conditioning unit you can hear. Well, it sounded like a wasp to me. Computers whirred, bracelets jangled, chairs squeaked. It'll take a little while, but you'll soon get used to the noise, said the doctor. She showed me how to switch them on and use the different settings. But the noise was even worse when we went outside to the car park. Cars revved, brakes squealed, horns beeped. By the time we got home, I had the worst headache ever. It felt like a Tyrannosaurus Rex was breakdancing inside my head. I hate the hearing aids. From now on, I'm going to call them the slugs, because it feels like slugs have crawled into my ears and got stuck. I don't care what the doctor said about getting used to them. I'm never, ever wearing them again.
Lovely, thank you. So we know a lot of authors put themselves into their characters. How much is Callie like you, or is there a bit of you in kind of all the characters in the story?
Callie likes wearing shorts and trousers and riding her bikes and getting muddy, and I was very much like that. I grew up in a little village in rural Kent, which is actually where I based the story. And my friends and I spent our time playing over the fields and in the woods and making makeshift camps. And or we'd ride our bikes to neighbouring villages and took packed lunch with us. So we were always getting dirty. We were always having adventures, and we were always out and about. And that's exactly what Callie and Grace like doing.
How important was it to you to have a character that reflected your own experiences, kind of growing up with hearing loss?
I write the stories that I wanted to read when I was younger. When I was a child, I never found a story like this, where the main character has hearing loss, but it's not the focal point of the story. And one of the things I really hated was being left out of things or singled out because I was different. And I remember my primary school, we were really lucky because it had its own swimming pool. And my whole class went in, but I wasn't allowed in because of the danger of getting water in my ears. And I was only finally allowed in to have a little paddle when everybody else had got out and were getting dry and getting their clothes on. And I hated that. And I used to have to watch my friends swimming. So I used to sit there and imagine I had a superpower. And that was the spark for the idea that many years later eventually became Major and Mynah. I have mixed hearing loss, which means I have problems with both my middle ear and my inner ear. And they were there from birth and have become worse since I grew up. But I was very clever at hiding it. I learned to lip read to help me understand what people were saying. And sometimes I just pretended or I just didn't listen, which really isn't the right way to go about things, I should say. And it was a long time before I admitted I needed help and got hearing aids. And they've made a huge difference to my life. And I wanted to encourage children to actually get help much earlier than I ever did.
So like you say, Callie's hearing loss isn't the main point of Major and Mynah. The main point of Major and Mynah is that there's a fantastically fun mystery behind it. What drew you to writing a kind of a mystery story?
Oh, it was really easy because I like reading mystery stories. I love Sherlock Holmes and a variety of other stories that I read when I was growing up, looking for clues and discovering things. And I realised that's exactly what Callie and Grace are like too. They're inquisitive, they're interested in what's going on around them. And they ask those two really wonderful words in the language, which is what if, and what if that actually was something else. So I played with that, and I hope that people will be really interested in what they get up to.
So another character we haven't spoken too much about yet is Bo, who is a mynah bird. What was it about mynah birds particularly that made you think Bo would be kind of the perfect character for this story?
Well, actually, at first I thought about Bo being a parrot because everybody knows about parrots. We've seen them at wildlife parks and on TV. But then I discovered mynah birds while I was doing some research, and they're amazing. Okay, they're brilliant at mimicking sounds. They can whistle, they can laugh. They're noisy, and they're friendly, sometimes over friendly. And that just, to me, seemed to suit Bo's character perfectly. So from the moment I discovered about mynah birds, Bo was a mynah bird.
So how did you start kind of writing Major and Mynah? Was it very planned, or did it just kind of like flow naturally?
With Major and Mynah, I started with the characters. Callie came first. There's a fair little bit of me and Callie, so she was a little bit easier. And then Bo, he's really quite naughty. He's cheeky naughty, and he was really good fun to develop. And Grace came along later when I realised that Callie's such an outgoing girl that she would have a best friend to share everything with. I really love their friendship. I was very lucky to have a close friend when I was growing up, so I based their friendship on ours. And actually, we're still good friends all these years later. So I like to think the same would go for Callie and Grace.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I can imagine them have grown up chatting over a cup of tea and some biscuits. How did you find writing a book for kind of slightly older children after writing your picture books?
It was quite liberating, actually, because obviously with picture books, you've got essentially 12 double-page spreads. So you've got a very small amount of space to write a story. And so much of a picture book is told through the illustrations.
Yeah.
And because I start my stories with characters, I like to delve into what makes a character work, what makes them tick, what makes them laugh, what makes them sad. And there's not so much space to do that in a picture book. whereas in a longer story, there is room for that. And of course, their characters develop as the story goes on. So I loved that, really loved that side of things.
So as we've very recently announced, book 2 in the series is coming next year. So could you tell us a little bit about what to expect with book 2?
You should expect some more fun and adventures, and obviously a little bit of naughtiness from Beau. He sneaks into Callie's school bag on her trip to the Tower of London. But while they're there, some gold coins are stolen, and the girls have another case on their hands to solve. But they need Beau's help, along with the famous ravens who live there. It's a lot of fun. I love writing historical stories. I love studying history, and I actually spent the day there. I met the naughty ravens, and they're not all naughty, and met the yeoman guards and walked in the footsteps of the various figures through history that have also done that. So I'm really looking forward to that one coming out as well.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for your time, Karen. So Major and Mynah is available now at fireflypress.co.uk. There'll be a link in the description box below. You can also get it from your local bookshop or library. We really hope you enjoy it. So thank you very much.